any album/artist recommendations for someone interested in getting more into jazz? Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your question. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, well, I'm really into like 50s, 60s, kind of like hard bop music. So that's kind of like what I was the most into, which like people would consider to be straight ahead jazz, as opposed to like modern jazz that came later or what's being created now. But I was a drummer, so I was always kind of like drawn to the great jazz drummers of those time periods of the 50s and 60s. So I fell in love. The first drummer I fell in love with was Philly Joe Jones, who's my favorite drummer. He's amazing. And he played with Miles Davis in a group called the Miles Davis Quintet. There were multiple versions of the Miles Davis Quintet, but this was sort of like the earliest version of the Miles Davis Quintet. And so, it was Miles Davis was the band leader, and then John Coltrane was in the group, who's another giant of jazz and went on to become, a band leader himself and did amazing things. And then the rhythm section was Red Garland on piano and Paul Chambers on bass and Philly Joe Jones on drums. And that's the first group that I played along with as a drummer. Like I put the headphones on and pressed play on the CD. It was Relaxin' with the Miles Davis Quintet. I think it was Relaxin' is the one that has this song, If I Were a Bell, as the first track. And that was the first song that I played along with. I think it was Relaxin' because there was a series of albums. There was like, it was always with the Miles Davis Quintet. So it was like relaxing with, working with, cooking with, steaming with. But I think Relaxin' was the one that had If I Were, oh yeah, sure enough, hell yeah. So If I Were a Bell is the first song that I played along with as a drummer. And I really fell in love with Philly Joe Jones, and he's still my favorite. But, I was also really into Art Blakey, another incredible drummer. And the cool thing about Art Blakey was he was the band leader. So there's a group, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. And different people shifted in and out of the Jazz Messengers. It wasn't always the same lineup. It was always Art Blakey on drums, of course, because he was the leader. But a lot of greats went through the Jazz Messengers. Wayne Shorter, Lee Morgan. I mean, and just on and on and on. It was almost like a rite of passage, for a lot of people who went on to become really amazing, band leaders and improvisers and jazz giants. On their own, kind of went through Art Blakey's group. So I was really into Blakey. The cool thing about him is he's like, he played loud and he played hard and he, it was a real like kind of energy, kind of thing. So that was just like amazing to me as a kid and still to this day. And then, the cool thing about jazz is it's not about the solo artist, it's not like Harry Mack or, Jay-Z or Beyonce or Taylor Swift or, now it's very artist centric, where it's kind of like a singular person, a lot of the time, bands are, I guess it depends on your genre, but, I would say in the most popular, like in pop music, it's very individual centric. The cool thing about jazz is it's really about the group. And so, you just flip the CD over. It was a CD at my time. But yeah, all the cats are listed on the back, So the fact that I knew that John Coltrane was in Miles Davis's quintet and that he was the one that was playing on this If I Were a Bell, playing this amazing saxophone solo, I was like, oh, what's up with John Coltrane? And then I discovered his music, which is incredible, and some of my favorite. And he had his own group. So the John Coltrane Quartet with Elvin Jones on drums. So, you can make these leaps and you can very quickly expand out this web, and similarly, like Red Garland, who played piano on that first Miles Davis recording, is also a band leader, and he had the Red Garland Trio, which had other people in it. So, you just sort of like, I expanded out that way. But yeah, for me, it all started with Miles Davis, which I feel like you can't go wrong. I mean, that's a fantastic place to start. One of the certified, greats. If you can only name one name in jazz, I feel like 9 out of 10 times it's going to be Miles Davis, right? So you can start there and kind of expand out.